Imagine, it's that dreadful Monday morning again. You have tons of work piled up. And oh, don't forget, you're required to submit a 300-word essay tomorrow. The stress is never ending, am I right? And trust me, as a 10th grader, I am very familiar with that word. Did you know, according to a UNICEF finding in 2021, 1 in 7 Indians between the ages of 15 to 24 undergo depression and lack interest in doing things. While too little stress can lead to boredom and depression, too much can cause anxiety and mental health issues. However, the right amount of acute stress actually tunes up the brain and helps improve performance. Some amount of stress is actually necessary to motivate us to achieve our goals. This probably brings me to one of the most important words in one's life. Yes, you got it right. Balance. Now, what is this balance? And why does it play such a critical role in one's life? Balance can be defined as making the time to do things we want to do and the things we have to do. I'm sure you will all be asking me, with all these exams on top of our head, how are we ever supposed to find time for ourselves? Well, in order to create balance, it is essential to create good habits, such as walking in the park every day or meditating. Habits like these give us a break from our strenuous and stressful life. Habits, though, in its own, has its own complex mechanism, and we often find ourselves stuck in its vicious trap. So, let us see how habits are formed. It is said that to make or break a habit, it takes 21 days. Well, no, that's just a myth. So, if the 21-day rule is really just a myth, how do you really break or make habits? So, what happens is the sensory nervous system is always monitoring our actions. And that's what causes the hypothalamus to secrete a chemical which is known as dopamine. Dopamine is a reward-seeking chemical. It is what makes us desire more things. So, when the brain recognizes a pattern between the action and the satisfaction, this pattern is registered in the part of the brain known as the basal ganglia. That's actually what makes habits so hard to break, because it is registered in a part of our brain which is not in our control. So, habits essentially work in 4 phases. We have the cue, we have the craving, the response, and the reward. A lot of us have the tendency to scroll through social media while studying. So, the cue in this case is that you're bored of studying. The craving is a mean or break. The response is that you start scrolling through social media. Well, we all know how that ends. And the reward is a pleasurable distraction from that mental torture. So, there is one way, however, to break all of these habits. And this can be done by a simple method. This method is known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a scientific, powerful method that helps us break undesirable habits and to create new positive ones. So, we are going to do this in steps. Step number 1 is to identify your routine. So, we are going to be taking an example of a girl called Zia. Now, Zia here has a tendency to open her phone right before sleeping, and she wants to break this habit. So, how is she going to do that? As I said, step number 1 is to identify your routine. So she's going to write down the routine in her book. In this case, it's switch off the lights, get on the bed, and open your phone. Now, to answer some questions. What was her cue? Was it her need to socialize? Was it maybe because she thought watching reels would make her sleep easily? Sleep issues? FOMO? What was her reward? Was it entertainment? Distraction? Well, to answer all of these thought-provoking questions, we are going to be doing an experiment. Step number 2 is to experiment with rewards. So, in Zia's case, instead of opening her phone, she can read a book or meditate or listening to music. So after experimenting with these different rewards, she's going to write down the first three things that pop up in her mind. It can be any three words, like in this case, sleepy, relaxed, bed. The point of writing down these words, no matter how meaningless they seem, is because it forces momentary awareness. So next time when you review your notes, you will remember what you were thinking or feeling at that exact instant. Isn't it interesting? Step number 3, isolate the cue. So you're required to write down the given data in your notebook. The location, the time, your emotional state, other people, and your immediately preceding action. So now, if we look carefully at Zia's schedule, we can see that a pattern is being formed. At a certain time, roughly around 11:30 to 12, her brain is wired to glance at her phone, perhaps as a mean of relaxation from a tedious day. As you can see, she was either studying, or she was at a party, or she was at a football match. So now, step number 4 is to have a plan. Now, since you've identified your craving that drives a particular behavior, the cue, and the reward itself, it's time to have a plan. It's time to make choices again. And studies after studies show the best way to start making choices again is to have a plan. These plans, in psychology, are known as implementation intentions. So, in Zia's case, her plan can be that at 11:30 every day, instead of opening her phone, she will listen to music for 15 minutes and meditate for another 10 minutes. The point of this is that instead of opening her phone, she still fulfills her craving, which is to have a break from her tedious day. So she also fulfills her craving and she substitutes her bad habit with a good one. In the end, it's the inner desire that matters. If you want something, there's nothing stopping you from getting it. Remember, where there's a will, there's a way. Mahatma Gandhi once said, there are 2 days in a year where we cannot do anything. Yesterday and tomorrow. So today is a day that we start making a change and create a better future for ourselves and for others. Thank you.